Welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making today is a delicious salmon bread roll. Now this salmon bread roll that I'm bringing to you today is my recipe and one that I can't wait to show you how to make. And I must say you could use fresh salmon fillets or you could use canned salmon, which I don't recommend canned salmon, but I'm going to be using fresh today. I'll show you how to make that. So let's get started. So on this side of the counter is the ingredients for the bread we're going to be using, and of course I'm going to supply the recipe down under this video, but a quick cap on it is flour, which I'm using white flour all purpose, and I got 2¼ cups there, and I got 1 tablespoonful of butter, 1 egg, I got at least 1 teaspoonful of sugar, ½ teaspoonful of sea salt, and 2 teaspoonfuls of yeast. So on this side is going to be for the filling for a salmon bread roll, and it's a fillet of salmon, and this is Atlantic salmon I'm using here today. You could use salmon of choice, and again we got dill, we got white pepper, sour cream, mayo, salt, we got cream cheese, onion powder, and lime juice. And please refer to our recipe posted below for the amounts that you would need. So let's get started. So what we'll do first is get our yeast starting to rise, because we need to make the bread portion. Now we don't have to go like previous videos where I'm rising it several times waiting for it to go into the pans. This is a little different, but I will show you those steps as we go. Right now we got 1 cup of lukewarm water, and we're going to be putting in there 2 teaspoonfuls of yeast and 1 teaspoonful of white sugar. So just toss it on into the lukewarm water, and the same with the sugar. Just pour it on in, stir it around, and we're going to let this rise for about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll get to the rest of the ingredients. So now what I'm going to do is pour the 2 cups of all-purpose white flour into the bowl. If you want to use a different flour, that's entirely up to you. We're going to be putting in the sea salt, and we'll just mix that in through. So now what we'll do, we'll reach for the other ingredients. So what I'm going to do is just break my egg. Just check it here now and make sure there's no shells in there. I'm just going to lightly mix it here, and I'm going to pour it into this melted butter. It's kind of at room temperature now, but of course it was nooked before. Just going to toss it on into this, mix it around lightly, and then we're going to put this in with our flour. So we're going to toss our egg and our butter into the middle of the flour and the salt, and then toss in our yeast in the middle there as well. And what we're going to do is start mixing this around until it's all incorporated. That's all you need to do there. Keep mixing the liquid into the dough and pulling it away from the sides like this, making sure all the flour and the other ingredients is all mixed in here together. So keep doing this for a couple of minutes. So after everything is mixed in and it looks something like this, you're going to start slowly putting in the extra flour that you got to the side. I said about 1/4 cup of that flour, and if you need more, that's fine, but that should be enough to incorporate it all together. I'm going to use my hand there very shortly and start kneading it because we need for the yeast to activate, and that's what does that. So of course after you started to do that, again continue taking all of the flour away from the sides and folding it all in together, putting in a little bit of flour each time. And this is only a small amount of dough we're making here today, because this salmon bread roll is really just an appetizer. Or if you wanted to include it into a main course meal, that's fine too. But I find that it's nice if you're just looking for a little snack, you got some friends and family over, and you just wanted to put out this little treat. And you will see as we get there. I'm going to show you what this dough looks like. So after you knead it a bit on that side, turn it over again, flip it. So do this for about 5 minutes. Like you said, you want to activate that yeast and get this rising nice. So it's only going to be rising for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes off to the side. And then what we'll do, you can cover it with a towel, same as you would with previous bread recipes. And that's all you need to do there. So what I'm going to do with this bowl is put a little bit of parchment paper over the top, cover it with my towel. What I'm going to do today is a little hint that one of our viewers gave me. Put your pan, let the dough rise in the oven with the light on, and the heat from the light in that confined place would make this stay warm and rise a little faster, so you mightn't even need that amount of time. So I'm going to put this in the oven just to let it rise, and we're going to get started on poaching our salmon. So what I'm going to do now, while I'm waiting for our dough just to rise a little in under the light in the oven or on the countertops, doesn't matter because I do both. What I'm going to do, I got boiling water here. I got it half full. I'm going to put in about half a teaspoonful of sea salt. You don't need any more than that. Then I'm going to put my fillet in there of salmon, and I'm going to let this boil, or you could say poach, for just about 2 minutes. We only want for it just to be partly cooked because we're going to be blending it in our blender. So I'm going to pop that into the water. That's all we need to do there. And just pop it in there, and I'm going to put it over on a medium heat and let it boil for just about 2 minutes. That's it. So now while we're waiting for our salmon, which is only going to be 2 minutes, but I want to start blending in the cream cheese and the other ingredients before we put the salmon in there, very last one. And if you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, you could use a blender, or you can do it by hand. I mean, it'll take a little bit longer, but it's the same method. I'm going to use this one for now. So we're going to be putting the 250 grams of cream cheese, room temperature, into the blender. Okay, so we're just going to toss it all in there. And then what I'm going to do now is just give this a couple of seconds here to pulse it, just to break it up a bit. Cream cheese is blended there. So what I'm going to do is take the salmon out of the water because I don't want for it to fall to pieces, and I'm going to put it in a bowl and let it cool a bit. Smells absolutely amazing in here. I can just sit and eat this salmon like this with nothing else, only a piece of bread with a bit of butter on it and just a cup of tea. But now what we're going to do is just put it into this bowl and let it cool down a little before we start adding it into our filling. We'll get back to our filling now. So now we're just going to add in the other ingredients, which is the sea salt. Now I'm not giving you the amounts here because so many of them. I'm going to get you to refer to my recipe, and if you want to add a little bit more, that's fine. But that was the dill and the salt. This is the black pepper, the onion powder, and we're going to blend that there now. Of olive oil, about a tablespoonful. Pour the lime juice in there. If you wanted to use lemon juice, that's fine, but I find the lime is so good in this filling. I'm going to turn the blender on. Okay, so now we're going to be putting in our mayo or Miracle Whip, whatever you got on hand. And we're going to be putting in there now the sour cream. And if you don't want to use sour cream, you could use plain yogurt, plain any type of yogurt, but just as long as it's plain, there's no flavoring in there. I'm going to turn this back on again, let it go for another second. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now is remove my lid again. I wanted to just take it a bit away from the sides, and now comes my favorite part, is putting in the salmon. Now you just take it in pieces and put it in there, and you might have to move it around a little bit. It's still a little warm, but it's not too bad, and you're going to gradually work this in. Put a couple more pieces in there, and then I'm going to get back to the bread. That's what that looks like. Alright, so that's all we need to do there. That's all you need to do there. Look at this nice creamy filling. Now what I'm going to do is take it, put it into the bowl, move my blender out of the way and take off my blade, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge actually and let it cool a little bit where I was working with it, and then reach for my dough. So make sure you get all that goodness and put it into the bowl, and that's all you need to do there. And I still got a little bit of salmon left over. I'll show you what I'll do with that after. Now I'm going to put this in the fridge. Okay, so now this is what your dough is going to look like when it's been resting there for about 20 minutes or so. And now what I'm going to do is take it out and put it onto my counter. Some flour out onto your counter, put your dough down, and we're just going to work it like this. So now basically what we're doing here now is stretching this dough out, because we're going to be rolling it when we put our salmon filling on there. So you're just going to flip it back and forth and then push it out with your hands like this, and you don't need to knead it after you finish rising it on that one. So just keep doing that until it gets a nice length. So after you got it spread out like this, you can go more if you want to, but you'll see what I'm going to do as I go. I'm going to reach now for the salmon filling. We're going to put it all over the top. So I hope you're still following along and you're interested and you're not bored or gone to sleep. I wouldn't want that to happen. We need a pan now, because we're going to put this in there in rolls. So I just got a nice casserole dish pan. You could use a baking pan or whatever you got. And I'm just going to lightly butter it. Put a little bit of butter on there just to grease it up. Just grease it up nice all around. This is a 9 by 13 inch pan. If one wants to get the same, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is reach for our filling. So what you're going to do is put it down on top of the dough, and you're going to spread it all out. Now this filling that I made here today, you can bake this separate if you want to. So if you wanted to have a little bit for the bread and a little bit baked in a bowl just to have as a dip with crackers or anything, you can do that. Top it with some more cheese, whatever. So now it's got a nice bit of salmon in there, but if you got some left over and you want to just put some more flakes over it like this, that's fine. Then you'll see those chunks in there in the middle of that when you roll it out, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to keep a little tiny bit there. That's all. I'm just going to pop a little bit of green onion onto it as well. Now you can put I guess whatever you like here, scallions or little bits of chives. This is just added to the flavors. Now the flavor of this and the seasonings that I use today is perfect for me, but if you want to use a little bit more of something else, you can. And that's all we need to do there. So now what you're going to do, you're going to take the end of the dough that's closest to you, and you're going to start folding in like this, the same way you would if you're making a cinnamon roll. And you're just going to roll it away from you until it's all the ways there. So all all the way to the end like this. And if it's a little sticky, just take another little bit of flour and put over it just to help you move it along. So that's all you need to do there. So now that's how simple it is to make that part. So what you're going to need now is a knife, and you're going to start cutting in about 1.5 inch pieces, and then we're going to put it into our pan. So all you need to do is just cut the pieces out, take it up with your knife. Of course, that's what it looks like on the inside. Put it over to your pan. We're going to keep doing this until all of them is cut and put into our pan. And that's all that looks like. It's absolutely delicious. I'm hungry just waiting. So there you go. Now that's what it looks like. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to get the parchment paper and my towel again. I'm going to put it over the top. I'm going to let it rise for about another 20 minutes or less. If you're fine with it the way it is, you want to put it in the oven and bake it, that's fine. If you want to let it rise up a little bit more, that'll even be good as well. So I'm going to show you that. So what I got here now is just a little bit, maybe a teaspoonful of butter, melted. I'm just going to put a little bit over the top of each one of these salmon bread rolls. So just equally put it over each one, and this will give it a nice golden coat, because when we put this in the oven, we're only going to be baking it, well, the same as you would bread, 30 minutes to 35 minutes, depending on your oven, of course. And then all you're going to do there is put a piece of parchment paper over the top, and then again put the cloth over it and put it to the side and let it rise for a little bit more. So now what we're going to do is work on this dip. So what we're going to do, this is your leftovers that you had from when you made your salmon bread roll. Maybe you won't have leftovers, but I always like to have a little bit of leftovers. So you're going to put it in an oven safe bowl. I got some salmon still left there. I'm going to bring this to the top of the dish like this. And I'm going to spread this down, and then I'm going to top it with a little bit of mixed shredded cheese. You can use whatever cheese you got. I got about half a cup here, and put it over the top. And now we're going to bake this in the oven while we're baking our salmon bread rolls. But give it about 20 minutes rising, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take the cloth off my salmon bread rolls, and we're going to put them in the oven now on a 350 degrees of heat, preheated oven, for 30 to 35 minutes, depending on your oven. You get a nice light golden brown, and then we're going to put that dip in there as well, so we can have that. So let's put it on the middle rack on the center. This is my favorite part. Taking it out of the oven, and now look at this. Our salmon bread rolls, delicious. It smells amazing in here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So now all I'm going to do is put another little bit of butter over the top. Now you don't have to cover this one like I would with previous bread videos. I'll cover it with the towel. You could just leave it like this and get ready to serve it. You can serve this hot, cold, or rewarmed. So I'm going to leave that up to you. So nice helping of butter. Just look at this, delicious. I know you're waiting to see what it looks like on the inside. So I'm going to take up a couple here now. Just pull it away. So you're going to pull this away from each one the same way you would a cinnamon bun. Now, right now, this is blazing hot, and so now you're not going to see exactly everything on the inside, but you got the concept of it. All of the salmon filling is on the inside there. I'm going to put a helping over into my plate here. Just look at this. How delicious is that? Yum. So what I'm going to do is get a nice helping of this dip that we put in there as well. Of course, the dip is the filling for our salmon bread roll, and you can add more with that, have crackers with it, or just eat it the way it is. But just look at this, absolutely delicious, too good to eat. So I hope I got you interested in making our dish. Of course, salmon bread roll. You can have it as an appetizer, you can have it with your meal. If you wanted to make a soup or a seafood chowder and have it with it, it would be absolutely delicious. I'm going to have a little taste here now, and I know Raymond is drooling over there to have some.
I can't wait.
Anything salmon in our place. So it's so good, and on the inside, and it just peels apart the same as you would do when you're making a cinnamon bun. But the savory taste of the dill, the fresh salmon, so yummy. 2 thumbs up by Bonita's Kitchen. I always say that if there's any food on my mouth, I know Raymond is not going to tell me, because he will get a big joke out of that later.
No, that's the fun part.
He would put in some laughing sounds and everything. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recipe today. The recipe is posted, of course, down in under this video, along with the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I hope today we've convinced you to do so. You can also visit us on our webpage, which is www.bonitaskitchen.com, and as well on Facebook. Don't forget to leave us a message on either one of those links, letting us know what you think of our recipe today, and if you had tried it before, tell us what you think and what your family, what their thoughts is about it. Also, like and share so your family and friends can get to enjoy this recipe. And every Sunday we post a new recipe to Bonita's Kitchen and those links, and of course here on YouTube for you to enjoy. So we'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today. From our kitchen to yours, you have a wonderful day. If you're visiting Newfoundland and Labrador, don't forget to check out the beautiful town of Spaniards Bay and join us again on Bonita's Kitchen.
Join us by the sea, a journey